Well. Sorry I'm late. Yeah. I had some technical issues. Anyway, good morning, everybody. I hope you're as unready to start the week as I am because holy shit, I'm not ready to do this. So yeah, good morning, happy Monday, whatever. Yeah, it's it's not a good day. Um, and whoever decided to do sprints at like 8 a.m. on a Monday morning, I hate that person with a passion. But at least I have tea. I mean, that's something, right? I hope it's something. Anyway, good morning. How was your weekend, everybody? Is there anyone out there even? I mean, who knows? Can you hear me? I I guess I'm just talking into the void, which is fine. Don't get me wrong. After all, I'm doing this mostly, for myself to be a person that does stuff in the morning and not just, stays in bed, which is what I wanted to do and almost did. Yeah. So that's that. I will definitely try to do some writing. After all, I did start that whole thing, so I'd better, continue. But I guess like during the first sprints, I will definitely try to also catch up on messages, emails, and so forth. The project of me reducing my my unread email pile is certainly proceeding. I did reduce them from 651 to 467 unread emails, which is still a lot, but it's a lot less as well. So there's that. Beyond that, I guess I'll just continue talking to myself because it looks like no one's awake at this early hour, which is understandable and reasonable. You are doing the right thing by not being here. Yeah. What else can I talk about? I did, in fact, yeah. I thought like the weekend would be easy. I went to a concert on Friday, and then I went to a different concert yesterday but it was like a matinee show, so it started at 2 p.m. and I'm like, that's easy, right? I'm gonna be home by 8, 9. I have a relaxed evening. I'll be fresh for Monday, which yeah, it did not happen. Hey, good morning. Top of the morning. Now that's a good greeting. How are you doing? Hey, good morning, Anna. How are you doing? Madrid. I've never been to Madrid. I've only ever been to Barcelona for a concert once, and then left by bus to the French side of Catalonia, and that's all my Spanish experience. I've never been to Madrid. Hey, Breton, you should definitely say whatever works for you. It is morning here. The sun is technically up. It's very, very dark though, and it's been super foggy for the last fucking week, like the entire week. Like the town that I live in is Marburg is no, it's a cool city. Don't get me wrong, but it's also like sort of like in this place like between two mountains, like and like weather kind of gets stuck in this place. So like if it starts raining, it kind of rains for an entire week because nothing gets out of these like this. You can't even call it a valley, but nothing gets out of this sort of place. And it's been foggy for the last week. It's been I don't know if like under 10 degrees Celsius, that is. I have no idea what that is in freedom units, but I guess something in the 40s, maybe? Who knows? But yeah, it's been super cold and foggy for the last week, and it's not any better now, I assume. Hey, Broken Spines, how you doing? Glad people are actually showing up. Like, as I said, I went to this concert yesterday. It was a nice, afternoon concert. And then we went to a pub with my flatmate and my former flatmate. And every time we three do something, it kind of ends up taking way longer than planned and involves way more beer than planned. And yeah. So the evening kind of got out of hand, and I woke up this morning and I was convinced that I had overslept and not even, set up streams or anything. And then I looked at the time and I'm like, oh, I have like 20 minutes to actually set up the sprint, get out of bed, make tea and get ready. And I did. And I am still not convinced this was a good idea. Yeah, very much the let's have one pint kind of scenario. I mean, as I said, it was a concert that started at like 2 p.m. in the afternoon. That was the official date, and then they pushed it back to like 3 p.m. because time setting up stuff took longer. And but we got like one glass of champagne free because it's an afternoon concert. It was a matinee, so everyone got like a free glass of champagne. And obviously, we had that champagne, but then we also had all that beer. And yeah, no, it was a good time. We good music. A friend of ours is part of one of the bands that played, so that was cool seeing them on stage. And afterwards, we were talking about the usual stuff, which is politics and and books. Because my old flatmate, former flatmate, and my new flatmate are both part of a book club that I started like a decade ago, like an offline kind of flat book club with people that live in around here. So we meet sometimes to talk about books, and we were bitching about how no one in the book club is currently reading the book that we settled on, and that book being Cahokia Jazz, which you should read. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, all three of us have read it, but no one else has read it yet, and we were somewhat bitching about that. But yeah. Yeah, right. That's kind of the problem, right? You go like, well, just for one beer, and then that one beer arrives in like 10 pints or whatever. It's a bad thing. It's so funny because I got a message like last night. It's like, hey, you okay? You weren't at like Matan Book Sunday pub, and I'm like, yeah, I was in a pub. This may surprise you, but it was like an actual pub, like with walls in the physical world. But yeah, so I'll try to catch up on all the stuff I missed yesterday because I did not check the internet after I left. Oh, that's the other thing. I did finally start reading The Siege of Burning Grass by Primay Mohamed, and it's so fucking good. It's really good. It's the kind of book that I like, which is, hard hard to define. There's certainly a little China Mieville in there. There's definitely a little Spear Cut Through Water in there. It's look, it was shortlisted for the Ursula K. Le Guin Award, and I'm about halfway into this book, and I can very clearly see why it was nominated for that award. It does very much ring of like an Ursula K. Le Guin kind of book as well. It's political, it's weird, it's science fiction. It talks a lot about pacifism, which is really interesting because you don't get that often in fantasy, where like all our conflicts are solved, and science fiction where all problems are solved by violence. No, this is explicitly about a pacifist trying to end a war, or maybe being forced to do something military. And it's super interesting in that regard alone. I highly recommend you go and read it if you find it somewhere. It's from this year, earlier this year, I guess. Probably. I guess I just gave her a bad nightmare, or a good, who knows. Anna, I'm not that much of a wine person. The wine thing usually happens when I go to Athens, but then it's Retsina, and they sell the, like, okay, Retsina, if you've ever tried it, is white wine with a pine resin, like a actual pine resin taste added to it for historical reasons. And they sell that in like those half-liter bottles that look like beer bottles, even have like the classic like bottle caps on it and everything. And they sell those at like every kiosk, like every like 24/7 shop along the street. You can get like that kind of wine out of the fridge, and it's a recipe for disaster, is what I'm saying. But then again, you know, me going to Athens is a recipe for disaster to begin with. It's yeah, probably my favorite city in the world is, in all its weirdness, it's Athens. And it's an ugly city. Don't get me wrong, it's a really ugly city, but it's also, it's Athens. And the sad part is that they're a very conservative, to put it mildly. A government is heavily gentrifying the cool neighborhoods, like the part around Exarchia, which is sort of like the anarchist quarter, basically, is heavily gentrifying it right now, which is really sad, because you need those kind of places. Which is, earlier this year, I met someone from Madrid, and they told me about this one part of Madrid that is also like getting gentrified heavily, but is also more, blue collar workers kind of place, or used to be historically, and sounded really interesting. Now, you probably know what I'm talking about, and I don't know what I'm talking about, Anna, but I just thought I mentioned it because my train of thought kind of got derailed somewhere when we talked about wine. Oh, like a Trappist beer. Yes, I have had Trappist beers, different ones. I have been to Belgium, and yeah, that stuff's dangerous as well. Belgian beer culture is a weird thing because, okay, Belgium has an actual beer culture. Germany doesn't, or at least people think something about German beer culture that is actually wrong. Like, Germany has a lot of beer, and Germany has a lot of cheap beer. That's true. But most German beer is more or less just the same kind of brand. It's not brand, but like it's all Pilsner basically, which is in the Czech Republic at this point. But anyway, so it's usually just Pilsner, and maybe one or two. When you go to like Bavaria or so forth, you have like the wheat beer. But beyond that, it's very much always the same kind of beer. So German beer culture is more about quantity and price than it is about quality, than it is about variety. Whereas Belgium does have like all these weird and different different types of beer, and that's way more interesting than like German beer culture in that regard. Yeah, Britain. I didn't make it to Matt's pub because I was in a different pub. One where they do, in fact, actually serve you, and you don't have to go to the fridge if you want a beer. Not that I haven't been in pubs where that also was the case. wonderful bar that does unfortunately no longer exist. It kind of got destroyed by the COVID pandemic. There used to be a punk rock bar in Hamburg called Clochard, and it was like open 24/7. And it was one of the weirdest bars I've ever been to. One of the, not weirdest, but like, holy shit, that place was absolutely fucking messy. And like the floor was incredibly sticky. I don't think they never cleaned in like 30 years being open 24/7. It was insane. And at some point, we were there with a bunch of friends, and it's and the guy behind the bar, the barman, just like fell asleep behind the bar. So everyone just like walked around the bar and got themselves like beers and just like put the money down on the on the counter for him to pick up when he woke up in the morning. And that's like the other side of this bar, right? Like people did still pay the price for the beer. It's not like, hey, the guy's asleep, let's like raid the bar and get like free booze. It was very much like, well, he's asleep, so we'll just like, serve ourselves, but still give him the money. So it was that kind of bar. Well, good luck with work, Anna. I know it's hard. As I said, it's Monday. Anyway, thanks for stopping by and checking in. I do very much appreciate that. Oh, those sour beers those are really weird. um, Australia. Well, I've never been to Australia. I've had friends from Australia. I went to London once for a concert on Black Sabbath with Dio, so the Heaven and Hell thing in the early 2000s. And I visited friends there, and both of those friends were Australian living in London. So we went on like a pub crawl through London to all the places that they or their mates have been working at. And if you've ever been to London, like every bar, I guess by law, is required to have at least one Australian person working there. So that was like a 24-hour pub crawl going from place to place and kind of getting free beers because everyone, knew everyone. And it was, oh God, really bad. The fact that we actually managed to end up at the concert the next day was quite the miracle. All right, so it's I guess it's time to actually get started and do productive things and start writing and all of that stuff, shall we? So let's do that. It is, yeah. So we'll do 45 minutes, which means I'll be back rambling and stuff at 10 past 9. I guess that makes sense. All right, I'll mute myself. I'll see you in 45 minutes. Have good luck by with doing something. All right. How is everyone doing? Are you still alive? Hey, Chadia. Good morning. As well. Yeah, it's certainly morning. When I look outside, I still don't see much light because, yeah, I guess I'm still stuck in this weird fog place. I did sort of look through all the stuff that I missed over the weekend. That's my productivity for the first sprint. I will definitely try to write stuff during the next one. I did also do the thing that I said I'll only do like once per week or whatever, which is check the word count of this ongoing document that will maybe turn into something. And turns out I'm at like 1,500 words now, which is good because it means I wrote something like 1,000 words since I last checked. And yeah, I guess we can call this success. Do you dream of Terra 2? I have never heard of that. It sounds so. The title is really cool. Whatever else it is, it sounds really cool. Um, uh, so yeah, that's so the interesting thing with without knowing anything about the book. If you study philosophy, there's a lot of stuff about Earth 2 that kind of comes into how you do certain parts of philosophy when you do more in the metaphysics department, and you have like, well, this is just like our Earth, but it's a different one, and you can start doing stuff there. So for a long time, the student council for the philosophy department used Earth 2 as the password for all their all their group online stuff, group chats and so forth. And I mean, it's changed by now, so I can say this, but yeah. So yeah, that's what I first thought when I read Terra 2. Anyway, yeah, that's email stuff is much harder than people give it credit. I did, in fact, reduce my email load from, yeah, I set it to 460 something, and it's one of those things with emails. Well, for me, I mean, the main thing is that I did in fact fuck up massively when I had like some weird combination of burnout, depression, and whatever, and there's so many emails left from that like 2 years ago, and over the weekend I like during sprints I'm slowly going through that, and on Saturday I did reduce the list of unread emails from 651 to 467, and just going back and having to confront the fact that I did not answer emails, like business emails that were actually important for like a couple of months or whatever, was super fucking painful. So yeah, I think, and this is something I've been thinking about for a while, and it's why I, you know, usually use the first sprints in the morning to, go through emails, go through YouTube comments, all of that stuff. Uh, we tend to sort of dismiss digital stuff still in a lot of ways. And we're like, social media is something we need to detox from, and we need to not scroll all the time and all that stuff. And yeah, we shouldn't let it, take over all of our existence. But for better or worse, it is here, right? This is part of our existence, of our lives. We should not dismiss, this part. We should not dismiss social media. We should not sort of like look down on it and go like, well, this is not as important. But because at this point in our lives, in our digital existence, social media is a vital part of who we are and how we exist at this point. So reading emails, going once through like, direct messages and whatnot on social media is something we need to sort of like do and accept as as just another part of our existence. And maybe that will make it slightly healthier to not sort of compartmentalize it into these two different things, right? We have like the real world and we have the digital world. No, the internet is just as real. It's like, yeah, we, maybe you can talk about like the physical world or whatever, but the digital part is real, and we need to accept that and not sort of look down on it. I think it's what I'm trying to say here. Not sure if this is making sense. Hey, Apollo, how you doing this morning? Don't worry, I also almost overslept. It was this is a very bad Monday. I am not looking forward to going to the gym later. It's going to be painful. Well, that's the point, Apollo, right? It was just stuff that was already solved or is so far back that it doesn't make sense to look at it anymore. It's like, bills that I didn't pay back then when I was, just not functioning at all. And those have been paid by now. And just going back and having to see all these angry emails I got from people that I owed money to. And I'm like, where's that money? Was really, really difficult to kind of face up to that. And as I said, I'm still not done by a long shot, but it's just seeing that number go down is already, feels good in a way, or at least it doesn't feel as bad anymore. I think that's a better way of phrasing it. So that's that. As I said, like I was mostly surprised that the writing project that is still very vague and whatnot is at 1,500 words. I was expecting it to be much less. So that's good, I guess. Me being able to actually put down words is something that I've struggled over for a long time. And I did, in fact, already, like Saturday morning, I did record, or afternoon, I did record the first part of the Mormonism video. It is happening. I have finally started. I may not be happy with the first one, but I can always re-record, and just starting is already like an important step, I think, for me. So ideally, I'll get through all of that during this week. And I mean, technically, it shouldn't take more than like a week to record that video. It's like, I guess one part per day sounds like about the kind of thing I can do, because then I can think about it after I've recorded it and re-record if I feel bad about it the next day. And I have asked some friends that I know that have either left the LDS Church and are ex-Mormons, or are still members of the LDS Church, and I'll send the parts as I record them to them to look at them and give me feedback whether I, miss something, get something completely wrong, am too offensive, the whole thing. Authors claim to have sensitivity readers when they talk about race and disability and gender or whatever. I guess I have sensitivity viewers now. I never thought about it, but like, what language are you actually learning, Apollo? I mean, I don't know any languages. I mean, technically, I did learn French in school, and I've forgotten all of it. I mean, I guess I can probably read some of it if I tried hard enough. And obviously, I did Latin at school, and I don't know any Latin anymore. I mean, once again, I guess with a dictionary, I'm able to sort of like read or understand Latin, without any of the intricacies that people like Kat are able to discern. And I know English, and that's it. And I wish I knew other languages. Should probably start learning another language, but I mean, I can barely speak German at this point, or English. Hey, no, all good, Apollo. Yes, it does feel good to just like on a yeah. There's a level of like relief that is really important, and just getting stuff done slowly is part of like the general like sprint thing, right? Is for me to get stuff done slowly, figure shit out, and not be too harsh on myself. And the fact that I'm doing this for like now the second week, and did not in fact not do sprints this morning, even though I felt like not doing it when I woke up at 7:30 ish, and I'm like, the fact that I'm doing it, I think is important for me to sort of like find some regularity, get some structure into my life. And this sounds so bad because, like, obviously, I hate any form of structure in general. But I guess I have to admit that sometimes doing things regularly makes sense, even though the idea of having like an externally imposed structure is something that I struggle with a lot. But since I'm the one doing this, I guess I I have to take it up with me, and so you know. Ooh, nice. That's a really cool thing. So what are you using as tools to learn that, Apollo? That's like I mean, I imagine there is no no Duolingo for that. No angry owl telling you passive aggressively to do your Kurdish language lessons, I guess. So are there like textbooks to learn that, or how does that work? Because I wouldn't know how to go about that. I mean, I guess sooner or later it would be helpful to find someone who actually does already speak it, so you can talk with them. But yeah, interesting. Um, yeah. So what else? I did. Yeah. Also look at the news, and once again, I think like one of those things that I'm struggling with is to understand that doing these digital things, reading the news, going through all the different channels of social media that I'm kind of in, is part of productivity and not something I should be ashamed of, because for better or worse, the thing that I'm doing right now is doing online stuff, making YouTube videos. Is that like a job? Probably not. I mean, but it is the one thing that I'm consistently doing, so I should probably take it seriously in that regard, and treat it as you know treat it with like a level of sort of respect in a way, and just reading YouTube comments and responding to them and so forth, I guess, is part of my job at this point, which is weird. So I did that during the first sprint, and now I will continue writing. I at least know where I want to go with this first part, which may end up being a chapter, and so maybe I'll actually get it done. Who knows? It's very difficult to phrase things, I guess. Anyway, it's 25-ish. So we'll do the next sprints, I guess, and I'll be back once again at 10 past 10. Then we'll talk a bit, and then I'll run to the gym. Oh, and also I have to make new tea because I ran out of tea. So yeah, good luck being productive and doing stuff, and I'll talk to you very soon. All right, and we are back. How did you all do? Because I did not do well. I tried to write, I wrote a couple of sentences, and then I deleted them because I was unhappy, and I tried again, and I don't know. It's not working well today, I guess. So maybe going to the gym and doing something physical will sort of like help with getting my brain into a more productive mind state, I guess. And yeah, I tried to also do more of the like email and social media and so forth stuff, and at least there I kind of succeeded in parts. So at least I'm more up to date with all the stuff that kind of comes with being a human in the 21st century in a digital sphere. So I guess you win some, you lose some. What you're gonna do? And that's like something I've realized is like writing interactions and writing dialogue is so difficult because written, like, if you write something the way we talk usually, it reads terrible. So you need to figure out now. I'm trying to figure out how to write dialogue that feels like it is actual dialogue when you read it, and then I don't know how to do it. So it's certainly a challenge in a lot of ways. Good luck with that. Calling therapists is so fucking hard. I totally get that. So good luck with that. I yeah, I will go to the gym and just run for like a couple hours or whatever, and finish the Siege of Burning Grass, which that at least is a good thing. And maybe I'll figure out what is wrong with the bit that I'm trying to write and get that done either later today or obviously tomorrow, and we'll see how that goes. After all, there is no deadline for anything, so that's the good part, isn't it? Yes, you can do it. I very much believe in you. Good luck with that. Yeah, what can I say? Maybe it's just a Monday thing. At least we finally have a new date to talk about the book with my offline book club that I mentioned earlier. So at least that has happened in the last 45 minutes, which will be next next Thursday. So I get to reread Cahokia Jazz because I read it like in May. So talking about it now without rereading it sounds like a stupid idea. All right, so thanks everybody for the hanging out and stuff. Have a great start to the week. Get I hope it's not going to be as bad as last week when it comes to politics and stuff. But we live in interesting times, as they say. So good luck with all of that. And yeah, I mean, I'll be back tomorrow morning, and I'll even record a video later today. So holy shit, productivity is happening at some point. So yeah, have a great start of the week, and I'll talk to you, well, very soon.